Hey, Alice is back. This time we're going with Dex. We're gonna try this again. The first time I tried to upload this, I was blocked worldwide. Not just a copyright claim, the video was completely blocked, which hasn't happened before. So I think I figured it out, and we're gonna give this a shot. Um, Obviously, I'm not going to have the same reactions as the first video because I actually started crying in that video. And I need to grab water. Hold on. I have no idea what the avatar just did. But so yeah, I actually started crying in that video. And then at one part, I actually kind of broke down. So I guess it's a good thing I couldn't upload it because I really, really, really hate crying publicly. And I was really glad that I had the avatar because yeah, I hate crying in public completely. And I know I shouldn't, but there it is. So this is Daxis to be a man. Um, this how came across this is kind of I don't know if it's interesting, but I was actually going to do a video on what's going on with men in the world from a woman's perspective. And by that, I mean, there's a lot of pressure, more so than there used to be even 50 years ago. There was still that pressure of being a provider and everything for the home, but now it's like almost a damned if they do, damned if they don't situation. It's just really ridiculous. And I honestly do think that some of the men that we see, not saying that gender dysphoria doesn't exist because it does, but I think that some of the men that we're seeing transing into women, I think the societal pressure on them from being men is more than they can handle for some of them. Obviously, not all, but I do think that some of them are folding under that pressure. So I'm going to get off my soapbox here. Um, Anyhow, I was doing research for the video and then I went to YouTube and this popped up. I took it as a sign and we're going to go with it. And yeah, so I think I've already said I did see it already, but YouTube just went crazy on that video, so I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to have a little bit of an issue because um I've already done my initial reactions and so it's not really going to be the same. I saved that video though. If maybe I'll upload it to like Rumble or someplace, I don't know. Anyhow, let's get into Dax to be a man.
I can't hide myself. I don't expect you to understand. I just hope I can explain what it's like to be a man. It's a lonely road, and they don't care about what you know. It's not about how you feel, but what you provide inside that home. Yeah, I know this life can really beat you down. You wanna scream, but you won't make a sound. Got so much weight that you've been holding, but won't show any emotion. As a man that goes unspoken, that we can't cry when life gets hard. Unconditional love's for women, children, and dogs. We know that we just have to.
I do remember that on that part I said, that is very true. Unconditional love for women, children, and dogs. Women are expected to cry. Children obviously cry. And, dogs are just dogs. And I love them because I have way too many of them. But um, I grew up with a very uh, hardcore disciplinarian for a father, and I discussed. Did I discuss? I don't know. My videos are out of order right now. I can't remember which one I've done or not, but I'll just say my father was an alcoholic. He killed someone in the line of duty. He was a cop, and he had a lot of issues dealing with that. Um, he turned that, and another incident happened, and he ended up turning to alcohol. And sad to say, but I actually preferred the alcoholic him because he was a lot softer. He was a lot he more I won't say a lot more affectionate, but he let his guard down when he was drunk. And he did get philosophical, so I don't miss the 2 a.m. with me going, Dad, I have to go to bed. I have to get up in 3 hours for school when he wants to talk about the universe. But yeah, it's growing up with a man who can't feels like he can't express his emotions raises not only other men who can't express their emotions, but women as well, because I'm one of them. I wasn't allowed to get mad. I wasn't allowed to cry. I wasn't, allowed to express my opinions, which is why I tend to be very opinionated now. But I think we need to give men a break. And, they need to cry. They need to go in the garage or whatever and punch out a punching bag. And they need to be able to speak to people about these issues, therapists, moms, dads, wives, whoever, even their best friends. They need to be able to express their feelings. And I'm going to get off my soapbox again.
Unconditional loves for women, children, and dogs. We know that we just have to play our parts, and don't nobody give a damn about our broken hearts. Yeah, as a man, we gotta pave our way.
I have one more thing to say. Sorry. Where he says, wait, what did he say again?
Broken hearts, yeah. Play our parts, and don't nobody give a damn about our broken hearts. Yeah.
Okay, so being raised the way I was raised. And I said in a previous video, my husband and I got married because I was pregnant. I actually ended up going into premature birth, and our son died. And my husband, of course, started crying because his child died. His son, specifically a son, he really wanted a boy, died. And I remember standing there in shock and not knowing what to do because you didn't cry at our household. Men specifically did not cry. Girls could get away with it a little bit, but no, crying was not allowed. So being raised that way and then having a man rightfully break down because his child died, um, it's just a really weird feeling to do that, to see that, I mean.
As a man, we gotta pave our way. Our only function is to work and slave. There's no respect for you if you ain't paid. You're disregarded as a human and you can't complain. And if you ever make it up and actually reach that place and find a woman that you love and give her your last name, you'll feel the things that you provide is only why she stays. And when you try to explain, you'll say, I can't hide myself. I don't expect you to understand. I just hope I can explain what it's like to be a man. It's a lonely road, and they don't care about what you know. It's not about how you feel, but what you provide inside that home. Don't give up, keep fighting. As a man, our sun is our horizon, And our father's actions play a role and we end up like them. So they can't let us see them hurt, cause we'll embody what they do and start a generational curse. No wonder most men are so depressed.
Generational curse. Yep. You want to raise your boys up the way that they can express themselves without being told they're being weak or that they're not good enough or whatever.
Embody what they do and start a generational curse. No wonder most men are so depressed. All the things that they can't express. They go to war, get thrown on the shelf, then go back to war with their mental health. Then grab that bottle and ask for help. Try to pull themselves out of hell, then fall back down and then realize that they're gonna have to do it themselves. It's the circle of life.
So my son was a Marine. My eldest son was a Marine. And he was stationed in Iraq. He was stationed in Afghanistan. And he would call when he could. And I'd ask him, hey, are you safe? Or are you in danger? You know, not in those words, but, and he's like, no, mom, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm in communications. I'm not anywhere near the fighting. I'm in a building. We're good. Later on, I saw a picture of that building, which was basically plywood attached to 2x4s. I think my turkey hut is built better than those. Um, so after he left the Marines and he moved back home, had to transition to civilian life. And I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit because this is one thing that really bugs me, especially having been married to a military guy for over 20 years. Well, married to someone who was in the military for over 20 years. I was standing on the deck of our house in when we used to live in Maine, and I was watching my son. He'd just gotten home. He was walking towards me. I waved to him. He waved at me. I think I was grilling out or something on the deck making dinner. And the neighbor across the street set off fireworks. I never saw my son move. One second he was standing up, and the next second he was on the ground. And I honestly, for a split second, I thought he'd been shot. And I went running to him. And then he started getting up, and I'm like, are you okay? And he was like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. I just thought it was a gunshot. And I looked at him and I said, you lied to me. You were in combat. And he said, I didn't want you to worry. And I'm like, have you seen anybody? And had been having issues, and then it all made sense that he had PTSD. And to this day, he refuses to get therapy because he says it doesn't do him any good. He did try, but I have a real big sticking point with the government abandoning our veterans. And the VA sucks. The VA sucks so bad. They need good quality mental health, and they don't get it. Okay, I'm getting off my soapbox now.
Then fall back down and then realize that they're gonna have to do it themselves. It's the circle of life. As a man, you provide. They don't know what you're worth till the day that you die, and that's when they start crying. Then move on to a man to confide in. That's why we feel we can't hide ourselves. We don't expect you to understand. We just hope we can explain what it's like to be your man. It's a lonely road, and you don't care about what we know. It's not about how we feel, but what we provide inside that home. Inside that home. It's not about how we feel, but what we provide inside.
saw that little to God moment thing he did at the end. I missed that actually. Whoops, I did not mean to restart. Um, I think as women, we need to be aware that men have feelings and they can't hold it all in. Men have the highest suicide rate in our country. And what's interesting, if you go to other countries, like the tribes out in Africa, they really don't have a suicide rate. There's I find it very interesting, and one day I want to study the differences between our country and the way we do things and the way they do things, because their suicide rate for their tribes is extremely low. And I think that's a lot to do with clear cut boundaries for, you know what, I'm going to get going again. Let me stop because I just keep going. Um, but anyhow, back to as women, yeah, we need to be more empathetic. I, I've, I know there are women out there who really don't care. They just want the paycheck and they want to be taken care of, which is not a bad thing. But if something happens to your partner, then, you know, God forbid he gets cancer, you need to be able to step up and do something and take care of him and make sure he doesn't keep trying to be the man and go into an early grave. Um, I I have a lot of soapboxes. I don't think I realized how many soapboxes I have until I started doing these reactions. But all right. This is an excellent song. The song needs to be shared everywhere. And people need to actually listen to it. I've already listened to it, so I was able to interrupt this time. But as I said, I think before, yeah, the first time I heard this song, I cried through the whole thing. Um, because it just really hit me. And yeah, men, you need to take care of your mental health. Don't hold it all in. If you can't talk to your spouse or whatever, your partner, whoever, then find a therapist. You have online therapy now. You don't need to be alone and try to hold everything together. You really don't. You guys have a great day. Love you all, especially you men. Don't take that the wrong way. You have a great day.